I know you probably will have to prep for your workshop. Maybe do you want us to start speaking with you? So you can kind of go off and do your thing, or I don't know who people's schedules. So yeah, we just want to see everybody. Okay. Right. That would be the best. Okay. So we could do tomorrow. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yes.
My sad. Let me tell you, baby, that I'm home and mom. And then just the idea too of like, I'm aware. I'm aware of all of this. No. Untethered. No. I'm glad. I really am. But you were just letting fast. Well thought out. What was intention with it?
All right, Ben.
I'm
You're
up.
willing to do it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much. And really, just like,
I just have to say, tell me about your project.
yeah, just get everybody to say their names, realize, hi, let us know who you
Okay,
are.
cool. Are you going to be the host for mine?
Sure. But
Okay,
I guess
cool.
I just thought we'd
Start here? Sure, yeah, that's cool. Oh, I think nothing. Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm actually going to do this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to do the So
No. Thank you, though.
all right, so again, we're gonna start over here.
Are we live yet?
Yeah, but it's on the
Oh, okay.
we're gonna edit it out.
Okay.
Hey, Hannah, I just wanted you to take a moment to introduce yourself and kind of give a brief description about your work.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Hannah Schallert. I'm a first year student in the PhD in Communication Studies program. And I made this film with the artistic collective that I'm part of called Immer. It's an interdisciplinary performance collective. And I was the filmmaker and the video designer in this case. And this is a dance film called 100 Years of Cinematic Solitude in 300 Moving Pieces. And it's about the history of women in world cinema, specifically 100 from 1920 to 2019. We took 3 films per year, took 5-second clips from each film, showing a different woman in a different film each time, different actors doing different kinds of movements. So in some cases they're just standing there, sometimes they're walking, sometimes it's from a musical, so they're really dancing a lot, or like a Bollywood film or something. And we stuck them together, and that's like the sort of choreographic score. That's the choreography that the dancer is performing in the film. And then after we shot it, we sort of shot it against this all white background and white costume so that we could have these projections of the original source footage over top. And I kind of edited them, and sometimes it's very clear what film it's from, and sometimes it's sort of a more like a texture or a color. Yeah, that's basically what the project is. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Good.
Now we could head over here to Chris Vilvang's project. Chris, I was just wondering if you could give a brief description of your project, introduce yourself.
Hi, should I look into the camera?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. My name is Chris Vilvang. This is my project, Graceland. As you can see, it's 153 4x6 prints. The whole display is basically designed to be reminiscent of, analog, home mode, everyday photography from the 20th century, I guess you'd say. So we have the paper clips and the clothespins and the wire, and the classic image prints. And what it is just 153 pictures that I took while I was touring the home of Elvis Presley. And I ran those pictures through the Apple Photos Memories artificial intelligence curation feature, which kind of picks which photos are deemed more memorable and then creates a little personalized slideshow for you. And I have kind of indicated which photos were selected and which ones weren't selected using simple green or red stickers. And what I want people to do is to kind of interact with it in a different way. I want people to take it in as a whole first. And then I want people to look around and see if they can identify what types of images are actually being preferred, what types of images are being excluded, and see if there are kind of patterns or other things that people pick up on, because it's really easy when you're only looking at one photograph to just say, yeah, this is the right one. But it's hard to take them all in and then try to understand, well, why did this one get chosen and this one didn't? So my hope is that, I can, by looking at it all, start to see, okay, yeah, there's a preference for selfies or certain types of content, but I also would just love to welcome other people to say, well, I noticed that actually I think it really likes this, or it doesn't like that, or whatever else. And it's just about, it's about how our memories now are being kind of shaped by forces that may not necessarily be in line with our preferences.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. And I'd like to introduce Ben Lapierre, and could you tell me a bit about your project here, Ben?
Yeah, for sure. So, this project is called Intimate, Private, Anxious, and it involved me in the night taking pictures of various family homes in different cities. There's two kind of things at play here. One is more practice-oriented, and one is more theoretically oriented. Starting with practice, I was really interested in sort of challenging myself as a photographer, and so I would go out at night and take photos of things at night. And in visiting my parents and my hometown, would kind of just be bike riding around in a suburban area and taking photos of homes. Of course, with film photography and with photography in general, the darker something is, the longer the exposure has to be. There has to be more light passing through in order to capture something. And what this resulted in was sort of this long moment of pause and a moment for contemplation. And so I started thinking about the family home and intimacy. And so my work was largely inspired by Lauren Berlant and Michael Warner's piece on sex in public, which really questions what is intimacy and makes us sort of consider and think about how our conception of intimacy is really publicly mediated through things like the state, through policy, church, marriage. And these were some sort of considerations that I had, but at the same time, I was also interested in thinking about anxiety, the anxiety of seeing and being seen. In my practice as a photographer, I'm often concerned about people getting angry at me for taking their photo of taking pictures of things. And what I want to challenge people to do is to consider the ways in which they're often being watched or surveyed in different venues, and also considering how digital technologies have a large part in that sort of in that surveillance. Yeah. Now we can move on to Jessie. Jessie, why don't you say a few words about your piece?
Hi. All right, I'm Jessie. So this is my piece, Chipping Away at the Bitterness. It's a mix of textile installation, embroidery, which you can see as you get closer, and then soft circuitry to create a sound piece built into the pillow. You have to get quite close to hear it to kind of play on this notion of intimacy and sound. The sound piece is, let me start over. So my textile piece is created with rust-dyed objects, or it's rust-dyed with found objects that I found from kind of these cities and construction sites that were kind of around the city, some of which are left at the space to rust dye. For example, this was left on like a beach shore in Brooklyn, and then this was like someone's rusty rods that were in their backyard. So yeah, my kind of idea behind this was that I wanted to create an archive of these like rusted objects, like objects that are kind of rendered obsolete. And then to kind of play with this notion of intimacy and sort of honor their lives within my creation, I created a sound piece based on field recordings that I made at the sites. And then while I was dyeing and creating the pieces, I guess I'll move down to the, so this is the soft circuit created with conductive thread and a LilyPad MP3 audio amplifier, kind of all in one. And then you can press these buttons and a sound will play. The idea of getting really close, you also have to kind of smell the rust and get more enveloped in this world. And mixed in with the sound recordings is also an image description of the piece to kind of create this vibe and also increase the accessibility of the work that's built into the piece as opposed to added on. And then, yeah, just some context. These were obviously little pieces that I found along my journeys, and then some of the pieces in the middle of being rust-dyed. So by the end of the week, they will probably look different than they do now. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessie. Let's head over here to Kristen Lewis's piece. Kristen, how about you tell us a little bit about your project, please?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about it and then I'll let you hear it because it is a sound piece. It's a 4-channel sound piece that is called Sonic Reticulum. And the idea is that I wanted to combine my creative writing practice with something more tactile and evocative of what I write about, which often, for some reason, seems to be digestion. I just think about digestion and write about it a lot. So the piece is kind of 4 reflections on different aspects of digestion as a metaphor. To do that, I kind of guide it through the framework of a ruminant stomach, which are the stomachs that cows have, which means they have 4 stomachs instead of 1. And everything just kind of like processes back and forth into those. So each sound channel is labeled after one of those phases or one of those stomachs in the process of rumination. And then the sonic element, it's my own gut sounds. So I spent a lot of time just sitting with myself, not eating, waiting different times to see what happens. And I found that the thing that makes the most noise is either coffee on an empty stomach or eating a lot and then lying down, because then your body's not processing it. But I can just play a little bit of it so then you can hear it. And it's also meant to be interactive. So because all the 4 speakers are coming into you at once, you can kind of hear 3 of them will be doing digestion and another one will be doing the spoken word. And that kind of changes based on which one is speaking. But I'll play it from where it is. The first thing I eat is an apple. I hold it in my hand and see the apple's waxed exterior degrade as hot tap water melts the coating. Oh yeah. Allowing it to drip into the sink basin. Once cleaned of its aesthetic exterior, feels devoid of shine and full of sensation. And I begin then consuming. The flavor is dull and standing over the sink, expecting some kind of juice to flow. I crunch down but find it dry and encounter no resistance. Eating it is easy. Yeah, so there's just 4 of those that will go in sequence. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Kristen. Now we'll head over to this corner and look at T's VR project. I'll just hand the mic off over here on the other side of the room. T!
Okay, just traveling. So I'm T, and this is a collaboration I did with Marie Henson, who also goes by hex.exe. And we are both part of underground queer communities in social virtual reality, specifically the platform VR Chat. And both interested in queer embodiment, relationality, intimacy as it's expressed in these communities. So what we did is so what you're seeing, I guess I'll say, are 2 worlds that we created through a set of shared assets. So this is a walkthrough of the virtual worlds. When you're seeing bodies, that's my body and Hex's body, so it's not an animation, that's us physically, virtually in this space. So we worked with a set of shared assets to create these 2 worlds. So we were both creating 3D models. Some of them were AI generated text to 3D model, working with text from Sarah Ahmed's queer phenomenology to, again, explore embodiment in the spatial ways. And yeah, I guess we wanted to see kind of how both of us would interpret this set of shared assets. And the piece is called Aggregate Multitude. And we were thinking about aggregate as a bunch of materials that come together but are not complete, that are sort of shaken up and fall together in these ways. And multitude as a way of thinking about the multiplicity of queer embodiment. So here you see me carrying some spheres that have sounds embedded in them. Some of it's whispering text from queer phenomenology. Some of them are tape loops that Hex created. And when you go in and pick them up, you can rotate them around your head and you're kind of creating your own 3D audio scape in real time.
Awesome, thank you so much, T. Here we have Alina Lex's project. I'll just hand over the mic to Alina.
Thanks, Ben. So yeah, I'm Alina. This is my project. It's called Hayabusa 108. And basically it's a experimental urban mapping project set on the Hayabusa line in Japan, which is Japan's fastest bullet train line. And basically, I was interested in exploring kind of experimental, creative, and performative aspects of 3D scanning. So basically, these are different 3D scans that were taken along the journey between 2 cities, Sendai and Tokyo, and kind of taken at different moments. So it's kind of like a audio-visual archive of these kind of different landscapes. And there's 2 kind of portions to this project. One, there's kind of a video piece that kind of, I wanted it to sort of immerse you into these scans. So kind of playing with this kind of perceived depth. A lot of the scans, all of the scans were taken on this kind of horizontal kind of plane. So I was interested in kind of representing them through a video to kind of immerse you into these scans and the effect of that. There's also some sound to it, so some of the sound recordings that I took on the train. The second piece is just a web page, which just kind of allows the audience to kind of more interactively engage with some of the scans. So I have kind of a collage web page here with maps, with scans, with videos, so they can kind of explore the scans on their own. Thanks, Ben.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alina. Then I'm going to hand over the mic to Raf. If you can just take a few moments to say something about your project. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Well, here is my video installation called Touch Me. So this is kind of like the first iteration of a two-part installation. So the second part is going to be made this afternoon in the workshop, where I'm inviting different, so a group of people to come and make some handmade 16mm film. So we're going to be painting on some clear leader. And so I'm going to be editing that tonight, and it's going to be put up on this tomorrow. But it's kind of like, it's playing with the same ideas of exploring textures, and so the material textures on the film strip. In this piece, I'm exploring the sensory dimensions of wearing a chest binder. So that's why this film is called Binding Chest, Mending Hearts. And so tomorrow will be another piece, but created collectively, that touch around the questions, yes, of trans embodiment and visuality.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was all the contributors here. So thank you so much for taking some time to explain your works. We're going to be here in the fourth space from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. July 11th today, right to the 13th on Thursday. So please come in, check out our works, and also check out the various workshops and talks that we've got going on throughout the week here in the fourth space. We would love to see you. Thank you so much.